Dear students, again I am here with a new lecture from the chapter Respiration of the course Plant Physiology 1. Today I will start the rest of the part of the anaerobic type of respiration. As when I started the topic respiration, I told you a few steps they are common between the aerobic and anaerobic type of respiration till of my last lecture I get you introduced with the respiration and all of its procedure and steps which are involved and while introducing you with the respiration aerobic respiration, I told you that the first and the initial step, that is glycolysis, which is that is common between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Now I discuss the next part which is involved in the anaerobic type of respiration, that is fermentation. And besides this topic, which is the end of the process of respiration, I will discuss in today's lecture the other pathways which are involved in the oxidation of the food in the body. And I will explain in today's lecture the oxidative pentose phosphate pathway also. I'm Dr. Smina Mahmood, Assistant Professor in the Department of Botany, University of Education. So our today's objective is what is an aerobic respiration, and I will discuss its second part, which is called fermentation. Anaerobic respiration basically has only two cycles or steps. One is glycolysis and the other is fermentation. I already explained you in the part of aerobic respiration about glycolysis in detail, and there is no difference in the process of glycolysis between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. And next, I will discuss what is the energy balance yeah, of the anaerobic respiration, why it is less important as compared to the aerobic respiration, and what is oxidative pentose phosphate. Anaerobic respiration is actually a metabolic process that converts the sugars into acid, gases, and alcohols. And here now I'm sure you are very much familiar when I said sugar. Then what actually I mean? I mean here the carbohydrates or maybe the proteins or maybe the lipids. It could be any which is I told you in detail in the part of respiratory substrates. So here the example of sugar which can get converted into acid, gases and alcohols. And this anaerobic respiration, especially its second part, which is I'm going to explain in this lecture, fermentation, is discovered by the scientist Louis Pasteur. And this was the great discovery in the history of process of respiration. Actually, anaerobic respiration is divided into two main steps. One is called glycolysis and other is called fermentation. Glycolysis, there is no difference between the process of glycolysis of between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. When I started the aerobic respiration, I explained you the process of glycolysis in detail, and there is no need for the repetition of glycolysis over here. Now, in today's lecture, I will explain you the second step of anaerobic respiration, which is the second and the final step. It is only based on these two steps, the fermentation, which is further divided on the basis in which organism it is occurring. It is called alcoholic fermentation or pyruvate decarboxylase if it occurs in the plants, and lactic acid fermentation if it occurs in the animal. And lactic acid fermentation further divided into homolactic fermentation and heterolactic fermentation based on the products which are produced in the process of anaerobic respiration, and which is if if only lactic acid is produced in the process of fermentation, then it is called homolactic fermentation. There is no side product in this. And if besides lactic acid some other compound, for example carbon dioxide or water or any other molecule which is produced if in the process, then it is called heterolactic fermentation. The main difference between in each type of respiration, I told you process of phosphorylation is very important to get the process initiated. And as glycolysis is involved, so also here the phosphorylation process is involved. However, in anaerobic respiration as compared to the aerobic respiration where oxidative phosphorylation occur, in anaerobic respiration substrate level phosphorylation occur, in which after phosphorylation directly ATPs are generated. And in the further steps, no more extra steps are involved in the production of ATP. Here you can see in the picture glucose can converted into the pyruvate molecule by the process of glycolysis. And after glycolysis, the whole this purple arrow is representing the fermentation part of the anaerobic type of reproduction, and in which two NADH molecules they are get oxidized into two NAD positive molecules, and this lactate molecule is produced in this reaction. So as I told you, homolactic and heterolactic, here you can see the product is only lactate. So it is the example of homo lactic acid fermentation because there is no other product is produced in this example. And in the other example, as you can see, again lactic acid is a 3 carbon compound actually. When glucose in the process of glycolysis is converted into pyruvate, and from pyruvate again NAD reduced to NAD positive, and in this process carbon dioxide molecule is evolved in the environment, and a 2 carbon compound that is called acetaldehyde is produced, which in next process of fermentation by the use of this energy which is released by NADH conversion into NAD positive, acetaldehyde is get converted into the ethanol molecule. So here you can see the end product is one is the ethanol and the other is carbon dioxide. So I told you any other end product or the combination of products other than the lactic acid, then it is the example of heterolactic fermentation. So this is the example of heterolactic fermentation, and this process of 2 carbon compound and ethanol and carbon dioxide, it is occurred in plants, while production of lactate occur in the animal body. And here you can see only 2 steps, that is glycolysis and fermentation. Glycolysis and fermentation, these are involved. So this is the summary. As I told you in when I explained you the process of glycolysis in aerobic respiration, this is the summary of that process. Overall, when glucose by the action of different enzymes get converted into the last and final product, that is pyruvate. These are the 10 steps which are involved. First 5 are called the investment, and the rest of the 5 are called payoff phase of the glycolysis. And in this 3 molecules of ATP, one is at the first step, second is while the conversion of fructose 6 phosphate to the fructose 1,6 biphosphate is utilized, and the last one at the when phosphoenol pyruvate is get converted into the pyruvate, a molecule of ADP is converted into ATP. Mostly two ATPs are utilized in the first step, and the last step is meant for the production because it is called payoff. So production of ATP. So the rate of production of ATP is common or same between the aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration in the process of glycolysis. Overall, two ATPs are generated, which are utilized in this process. And in the process of fermentation, you can see two NADH molecules are involved. So I told you one NADH is equivalent to 3 ATPs when it is converted into the ATP. So 2 into 3, it means 6 molecules will be produced in this reaction. And the rest I will told you when I will explain you its energy balance. Here, the energetics of the fermentation does not liberate all the energy and remains in the reduced form and byproduct lactate or ethanol. Release of energy from alcoholic fermentation is 210 kilojoules per mole. Release of the energy from lactate fermentation is 150 kilojoule per mole, or it has the 4% efficiency. So it mostly occur in the lower organisms or microorganisms, for example protozoa. And it is the exceptional case where it produced more ATP as expected in the normal fermentation process, that is 5 ATPs. This is the energy balance of the anaerobic respiration. As I told you and I explained you in much detail the process of glycolysis, in which overall 2 ATPs are utilized, 8 are produced, and the net gain is the 6 ATPs. While in the process of while fermentation, here I told you 2 NADH molecules are involved, so 4 ATPs are produced here. So overall 4, and total is the 6 molecules which are produced in the process of anaerobic respiration. Now that is the end of the anaerobic respiration. In this lecture I finalized the aerobic versus anaerobic type of respiration. Now there are other metabolic pathways which are also involved in the metabolism of the sugars which are present, or food items which are present in the body to get them metabolized. And these are basically three, and in this lecture I will explain you the first pathway, and in the last next lecture, that will be the last lecture from this chapter, I will explain you the rest of the metabolic pathways which are involved in the metabolism of sugar. So start with the oxidative pentose phosphate pathway. It is a glycolytic pathway and is not the only route available for the oxidation of sugars in the plant. Sharing common metabolites, the oxidative pentose phosphate pathway, also known as hexose monophosphate shunt, can also accomplish this. The reactions are carried out by soluble enzymes present in the cytosol and in the plastid. Generally, the pathway is plastid, predominates over the cytosolic pathway. The first two reactions of this pathway involve the oxidative events that convert the 6 carbon glucose 6 phosphate to a 5 carbon sugar ribose 5 phosphate, with the loss of a carbon dioxide molecule and the generation of two molecules of NADPH, not NADH. The remaining reaction of the pathway converts the ribose 5 phosphate to the glycolytic intermediates, glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate and fructose 6. This is the schematic presentation of the oxidative pentose phosphate pathway in the higher plants, and in which you can see here, this is the ribose 5 phosphate, and this is the enzymatic reactions which are involved in its conversion, which is started from glucose 6 phosphate, and in this NADP molecules get converted to NADPH, and these are the enzyme glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase convert the glucose 6 phosphate to 6 phospho gluconate and in the next conversion carbon dioxide molecule is involved, and again NADP positive molecule get converted into NADPH, and in this process ribulose 5 phosphate sugar is produced, and the enzyme involved is gluconate 6 phosphate dehydrogenase. And this ribulose 5 phosphate in the next cycle get converted or cleaved into two molecules, that is called ribose 5 phosphate and xylulose 5 phosphate. These two are interconvertible compounds which could be converted into each other, or they can adopt any other route to be get converted into a specific compound which is called glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate or pseudoheptulose 7 phosphate. And tra- trans aldolase enzymes which are involved for further conversion into fructose 6 phosphate, and from there you can see it can adopt this route to be get converted to this product, or it can adopt an other via to be get converted and reach to this step directly. And in this the product is also glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate, as you can see in this passage over here. So, and here again this fructose 6 phosphate and glucose 6 phosphate, they can also can directly converted to each other in a reversible manner by the use of hexose phosphate isomerase enzyme, because these are the isomers of each other. So here we can see there are several ways in which different intermediates can get entered into the cycle, and as a result of this the sugars which are involved can get metabolized into their simple compound. Result of this, energy in the form of ATP is released. Here again you can see the same procedure in a simple way, and here you can see the difference. As I told you, plastid based oxalate phosphorylation is predominant over cytosol, so you can see, and arrows at each step you can see these are in a reversible manner, means at any stage due to any factor or a deficiency in case of any enzyme, the procedure can revert back into the backward direction. So there should be some inhibitors that can control this reversal of the procedure, and it is compulsory because all the time metabolism is not required. Metabolism in the body is required only when body required energy for any type of reaction or function in the body. So here storage phloem transported in a reversible manner. Here you can see again scrolls into scrolls phosphate. Here it could be transferred into the plastid at this stage, or it can get converted into more simple form, and over there it can again enter into the plastid for the use into the pentose phosphate pathway. And also these are two stages, and these two products are important to be get utilized into this, and as a result of pentose phosphorylation pathway, pentose carbon dioxide molecule along with NADPH molecule is evolved as a result of the reaction. And here again you can see if it proceed in this via and get converted into more simple compounds, then it can also enter into the Krebs cycle. So this is just an additional pathway which is associated. This is the main pathway which is associated, and I explained you in detail the process of respiration as a chief source of energy generating process, but this is a side reaction which can also occur in case of absence of this, or when high energy is required, then both processes or both pathways can be operated side by side to each other. Energy balance of this is the because glucose 6 phosphate can be regenerated from glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate and fructose 6 phosphate by glycolytic enzymes. For 6 turns of the cycle, we can write the reaction over a reaction for the 6 steps as 6 glucose 6 phosphate plus 12 NADP plus molecules in the presence of 7 water molecules get converted into 5 glucose 6 phosphate plus 6 carbon dioxide molecules evolved inorganic phosphate polymolecule also generated and 12 NADPH molecules in the presence of 12 protons are also produced reaction. And what is the role of this pentose sugar pathway in the plant metabolism? Glycolysis is the more dominant breakdown pathway, accounting for 80 to 95%, as I told you in my previous lecture, of the total carbon flux in the most plant tissues. However, the pentose phosphate pathway does contribute to the flux, and the developmental studies indicate that its contribution increases as the plant cell develops from the meristematic cell to a more differentiated state. The product of the two oxidative steps is NADPH, not NADH, as I showed you in the respiration process. In non-green plastids such as amyloplast and in chloroplast functioning in the dark, which are functioning in the dark, the pathway may also supply NADPH for the biosynthetic reactions such as lipid biosynthesis and nitrogen assimilation, because as I told you, energy is always required during day and night, and when the main metabolic process due to any reason is shut down or slows down, then other side pathway reaction also initiated or activated in the plants to fulfill the requirement or need of the plants, or initiate the metabolic processes which occur in the plants. Because plant mitochondria are able to oxidize cytosolic NADPH via an NADPH dehydrogenase, some of the reducing power generated by this pathway may contribute to the cellular metabolism, that is production of. The pathway produces ribose 5-phosphate, a precursor of the ribose, and deoxyribose needed in the synthesis of RNA and DNA respectively. Another intermediate in this pathway, the 4-carbon compound, which is called erythrose 4-phosphate, combines with PEP in the initial reaction that produce plant phenolic compounds, including the aromatic amino acids and the precursors of lignin, flavonoids, and phytoalexins. During the early stages of greening, before leaf tissues become fully photoautotrophic, the oxidative pentose pathway is thought to be involved in generating the Calvin cycle. So, how we can control the oxidative pathway? The oxidative pentose phosphate pathway is controlled by the initial reaction of the pathway catalyzed by glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase, the activity of which is markedly inhibited by the high ratio of NADPH to NADP positive in the cell. And in the light, however, little operation of the oxidative pathway is likely to occur in the chloroplast because the end product of the pathway, fructose 6-phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, are being synthesized by Calvin cycle. Thus, mass action will drive the non-oxidative interconversions of the pathway in the direction of pentose. I use these books to prepare this lecture. These are the very good reference books. If you are interested in more detail about this topic, you can consult these. Thank you very much.